That will be okay.
And then I'll just send it to you later.
I would love that, but I still don't see it say recording anywhere. Do you see recording?
Yeah. It is recording.
Okay, different on my screen then. So we're recording and we are live in now. So this is the SDEBA. Welcome to the SDEBA Power Dash Lunch. That hyphen in there is new, and I'm going to tell you why that's significant later. But there's a reason we put that hyphen in there. I'm your host, Milo Shapiro, the author. We were talking about books beforehand. I'm the author of Public Speaking, Get A's, Not Z's. And you are with the San Diego Equality Business Association, which is the Chamber of Commerce for San Diego's LGBT+ community and its allies. I see a little of every group practically out there in that group. So thank you for being with us today. Please mute yourself at this time if you haven't. On Windows, it's Alt-A. On Mac, it's the triple Shift Command A, or you can click the little button, but it's just nice to get that down so you don't have to hunt for the little symbol. We are here in April, which has more holidays in it than I even knew. So if I missed Cheese Fondue Day with you, sorry, but happy Garlic Day coming up. More likely, though, you were either celebrating a little bit of Easter or with me on a virtual Passover Seder, or maybe just enjoying the spring equinox. Whatever it is, we hope your April is off to a good start. And if you can believe it, we are more than a third of the way through 2021, flying through what I'm calling the year of hope. I think 2022 is going to be a year of renaissance, but we're moving our way through and things do seem to be getting better. You feel that hope in the air. So I'm looking forward to the point where we're all together for a big group hug when we can meet again in person, although we hope the power lunch is going to continue. If you haven't yet, now please turn on the chat because there might be a reason for someone to send you a message. Someone might say, oh, I wanted to talk to you about something. It might be under the more button if you're on a small screen. Also, please turn on the participants window to see the list of everyone. I'll explain in a little bit why that's important. We are recording this, so it's going to end up on YouTube where we can play it back on our Facebook page. So just be aware of that. Today's sponsor is freshenyourphoto.com. In this shot, you can see, take some real damage and get it to the point where it looks a lot better. We don't want to be sending mom and dad out on Groupons for jumping bungees for Mother's Day, flowers die, but picking up those photos from their past and making them look good, that's a wonderful gift. So don't tolerate your photo, freshen your photo. If you'd like to be the sponsor of a future Power Lunch, let us know and we can see to how we can make that happen for you. Helping us out today is Jeremy in the background. Brenda will be our timer. Thank you, Todd, for coming on and saving the tech day here. Dorian for filling a little time there. Garrison's going to be joining us a little bit late. And there's an alarm going off in the building next door to me. It's been quite a day. Hopefully that won't be too loud or too long. Our board, we want to thank them for all the hard work. There's an extra face in there that wasn't there before. Thanks to Ed Simon, who wasn't in our previous pictures. I hear there are 2 board positions open, so you'll probably be getting some notices about that. What does the SDEBA stand for? Barbara, you've done such a good job in this in the past. Can I ask you to unmute and read this for us, our mission statement? And the alarm sounds good.
You bet. There we go. The San Diego Equality Business Association promotes LGBTQ influence through business ownership, workforce equality, and active consumerism, creating prosperity to support equality, diversity, and inclusion.
Thank you. Sounds like the kind of organization I'd want to be a part of. Hopefully you too, if you're not yet. Membership includes being listed on the site. So if people want to give business to people in the community, people they feel a sense of connection with, they can go out there. Here's just one profile and it goes on way beyond that. So get in your membership and you can get listed. You'll also have access to the Membership Plus app, which helps you to connect with other members and learn more of what's going on and available to you as an SDEBA member. More about this at, like everything else, sdeba.org. So we have education sessions, social events, they're coming up. We're actually starting to talk about planning social events. We have a job board, advertising and posting ops, free membership in the business networking groups, which we'll come back to, and the chance to use the SDEBA logo in your materials. But most of all, we're known for the mixers, the chance to get to know each other and learn about each other's business. They don't quite look like this anymore. I'm not sure they ever look quite that grand, but they were pretty darn nice. And we look forward to sharing food and drinks and conversation and laughter again soon. But in the meantime, while places are still looking a little more like this than what we remember, we are meeting like this. So thanks for being with us here today. What is today about? It's a chance to give you a chance to share what you offer to a larger section of the SDEBA community. It's a chance for others to learn about what others offer, a chance to get some education like we're going to get from Janet, and to grow the SDEBA family as we all get to know each other just a little bit better. What it isn't is exclusive by industry. So you might have a couple of people on here today in the same industry, and at the Power Lunch, that's totally fine. It's not a venue to learn intimately about each other's businesses. We're only going to get 30 seconds each, so it's just a taste, and then we want you to connect offline. It's not a replacement for the BNGs. The BNGs are groups where there is one person per industry, where we meet once a week typically, and you get to know each other so well that you'd have no question of that person's knowledge and whether or not you have a trust in them to recommend them to the people in your life. So find out more about that. Dorian is a great person to contact about that. A commitment: if you can't make it on any given month, don't come. We want you making work. We want you making money. If that's what you got to do, we got it. But if you can squeeze out that hour every month, we're going to be trying to continue to bring you interesting programming and fun people to meet. And lastly, this isn't a place to sell to us. You can tell us what you offer, but it's more about getting allies who recommend you than selling to the 20 people who are here. All right, who do we welcome? SDEBA members certainly are welcome to come into the room. Any guest who wants to be here, we just extended the Power Lunch free again for guests through June. Might even go beyond that, but at least through June, welcome to all. And the meeting format, we'll finish this opening. We'll go on to our member introductions. We'll have our guest interview with Janet. I'll let you know about upcoming events within the EBA, and we'll have some testimonials and the chance for you to call out, hey, there's someone I want to connect with, and then we'll have our official closing. At the very end, sometimes we do an extended Q&A. We tried that last time and it worked well. So if we just feel like we have to cut Janet off, especially since we're running a little behind and people have questions or there's more she wants to say, we might have an informal time after we close the meeting and turn off the recording at 1 if Janet can linger. Didn't have a chance to ask her that, sorry. We'll find out if she can. When is it your turn? This is why I asked you to turn on the participants window. We're going to be going alphabetically through the participants window. When you hear your name, that's the time to unmute. Please don't do it a person or two before you, because you'll shoot to the top of the list and I'll miss you. So stay there until you hear your name, and that's the time to unmute. Share your business orally, or if you're really good, you can go and do a 30-second PowerPoint if you can get that on fast enough. If you haven't done it before, this isn't the chance to practice probably. Afterwards, remute and unshare your screen if need be. Then finally, in the chat area, put your big 5, your name, your website, your phone, your email, and your LinkedIn, so people can learn more about you than they could in 30 seconds. Keeping us on time today, we have our timekeeper, Brenda, who I'm so glad to see here today. It's always nice to see your smiling face. And would you explain how the signals work?
Absolutely. So you're going to want to make sure that you can see me in one of our squares, and everyone's going to have 30 seconds to do their introduction. At 20 seconds, you're going to see this yellow card here. Milo, help me out.
I see it.
And that's your visual cue that you should be wrapping up. You should start to wrap up your introduction. And then at 25 seconds, I'm going to hold up this red card here. And this is your visual cue that you should just be finishing up your sentence. And we just want to make sure that we're honoring everyone's time. And just, I love the fact that this is a great safe space for really practicing honing in our 30-second introductions. And if you go on much past that, I'll do a verbal hook saying thank you. And that's your verbal that you really should be done at that time.
Thank you is the polite way of saying stop. And if you happen to hear thank you, it's not the end of the world. It just happens. Okay, intro strategies, jump in with something interesting about yourself and end with your company name. Because if you tell us your name at the beginning, we might forget at the end. But once we're interested in you, then it's great to know your name and your company. Think in terms of what would help us help you. Understand what you do and refer people to you. And try and vary what you say a little bit each time you come, and it'll keep you more interesting. My challenge to you is to find 2 people here whose pitches make you think, I wouldn't mind hearing more about that, or that's someone I could have business symmetry with, and connect with them afterwards, reach out to them. That gets us going. Off we go, starting at the top of the list. My list does start with a couple of the people who are working with us, and then it goes alphabetically to, her name doesn't actually start with A, but Georgine is in as Attorney Georgine. So after we go through our first few people who are on my committee, we will start with alphabetically Attorney Georgine. So Todd, would you take your 30 seconds to kick us off?
Yeah, my name is Todd Case. I'm with Consolidated Concepts. Our motto is we are your total print and promotional products resource. So if you're looking to get anything printed this year, you want to get that message out to your client, something that you're looking to do. We do promotional products such as t-shirts, banners, whatnot. We also do greeting cards, thank you cards, anything to get your message out to the clients who have not seen you in a while in person. So they may want that little thing. And so my name is Todd with Consolidated Concepts.
That's how it's done. Nicely done. Brenda, would you like to take your own 30 seconds to tell us about your products?
Absolutely. My name is Brenda Geary, and this is Autism Awareness Month. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. Oh, it's disabled.
Oh, no.
So I guess I won't share my screen. That's okay. My passion is health and wellness. I was a corporate VP of Human Resources. always healthy until I got sick. And when I got sick, my life changed completely. So my passion is helping people not to have my story and helping people to maintain their wellness by using plant-based nutrition to optimize.
Thanks. And a heck of a story it is. You've come such a long way. If somebody's unmuted, who shouldn't be, please do mute yourself. Next in the list, I have Lynn. Lynn Sandwa. It's all strung together. I'll let Lynn tell us. Lynn? I see Lynn as a name on the screen unmuted, but I don't hear her. Lynn, can you hear us? I will come back to you at the end if you're interested. So now we are going to start our alphabetical list, and we're going to go with attorney Georgine Brave.
Hi friends, I'm Georgine Brave. I'm a family law attorney and been doing it for 37 years in San Diego. I do free telephone and email consultations for anybody who has a question about family law. It's a trauma, it's the death of a family, and I'm here to help. My daughter-in-law made this for me a while ago, and people who are facing family law issue are happy to see that. I'm the advocate on the white horse with a sword helping my clients. And I'll put my information in the chat room for you.
Thank you. Thank you, Georgine.
Thanks, Georgine. I'm not sure why you're showing up alphabetically next, Janet, but you are in the list there. So I'm going to take your 30 seconds as well. And now you're muted. I think you were unmuted. That was the problem. And now you're muted. There we go.
You know, you're going to hear about me later. I'm an author, editor, and writing coach. And I do help people with their personal and professional development when it comes to oral and written communications. I work a lot on manuscripts, fiction and nonfiction. Please contact me later. I will stay afterward, and you'll have my info. Thank you.
That sounds good. Yeah, Janet took an article that I wrote one time and made it a way better article for me. So thank you for your editing techniques. Moving down the list, we have Barbara Eldridge.
I'm Barbara Eldridge, and I work with people who are ready to meet the challenges of this changing marketplace and break down the barriers so they can discover the new solutions. We do that by inviting people to visit one of our Mind Master groups on a weekly basis, where they're challenged to think bigger and get support in expanding on their goals. We have 5 weekly groups, and I invite people to visit a couple of times. I'll put my information in the chat room. Barbara Eldridge with Mind Masters.
This is in the chat wonderful, so we don't have to say everything, and I hope people get it. Up next, CJ.
Well, hello and good afternoon, everyone. My name is CJ Gilbert, and I'm a website developer. I've been a web developer for over 20 years, and now I'm also a speaker, an author, and teacher. You see, I can speak geek, and I can also speak normal human, and I can translate between the two worlds. I've just dropped a couple resources in the chat box for you now. The first link takes you to my SDEBA resource page, where you can learn just a little bit more about me, but get to all the free resources I want you to check out. I'd love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channels. That's my special ask. CJ with Ask a Web Geek. We understand the internet is a jungle.
Grr, very doesn't feel right without the grr at the end.
Right.
Up next, we have Deangelo from Belotta Entertainment.
Hi guys, I'm Deangelo from Belotta Entertainment. So we are a entertainment agency here specializing in corporate entertainment. We do social as well, so you can provide a band for your wedding. We've actually done British soldiers for somebody's wedding because they wanted to have that whole royal affair and walk down that little tunnel. So we do everything from branding, costuming, and lately we've been doing a lot of virtual. So we're actually building games that you can play online. We're doing a special parody of America Says right now. So.
Cool, thanks. And I really would like to do a one-on-one with you sometime, Deangelo, if we get a chance. Dorian, you are up next for your 30 seconds for State Farm.
Hey everybody, Doreen here. And so I love helping the LGBTQ community. I think they have special needs that they need to consider that they may not be thinking about. So I'm happy to walk with people throughout, obviously anyone throughout their life. As your life changes, so should your insurance needs. And a lot of people just set it and forget it. And that's probably not the best thing in the world. So yeah, Dorian Brewer, State Farm Insurance.
Thank you. Up next, we have Eric Nichol.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm morning. I think I've had way too much coffee today. Happy Wednesday. Good to see a lot of you. It's been a while. Smart Wellness is a consortium of people around the country that educates people on a US-based manufacturer of over 500 daily use consumer wellness products. The thing that sets us apart is that our products are all natural. So we're really coming into an age of awareness of the ingredients that are in the types of products we use, like toothpaste, laundry soap, hair care, skincare. We help you make better, safer, smarter choices. And I'd love to educate if you're open. My name is Nichol with Smart Wellness. Thanks for having me.
Nicely done. I almost introduced you as Eric Nichol Smart. I thought it was a hyphenated name and I caught it just in time.
I've been called worse, Milo.
Not by me. Jennifer Lloyd, you are up next.
Hi, my name's Jennifer. I am brand new to SDEBA, and we've got a brand new business. I know it's a marketing agency, swell, but it's queer owned and operated. It's me and Jody Mitchell. We've been in and around the community for a little while, and now we've focused our energy. I've got an MBA in business management.
Yeah.
He's got a BA in art and design. So we're actually working together. Check out our website. You can see it. If you know Glitz Glam, take a look out now. We just launched a thing for them. So thank you.
Thank you. Nicely done for your first time here. Welcome. Next, we have Julia in Mendo.
Hi, I live in Northern California and I was introduced to Don't Ask, You Don't Get, and I read the book and it changed my life. It changed my family's life. I tell people about it all the time. And I learned about that Janet was talking today, and I thought it'd be great just to get a little refresher. And just because the book has really changed my life and other people's lives that I know. So it's an amazing book, and I'm just happy to be here. Thank you.
I can totally see how it could be that way for you. Terrific. Thanks for being with us. Up next, I have Lynn. I don't want to guess the last name. I've heard it before, but I don't want to get it wrong. Lynn? There you are.
I am. Yeah. So I'm Lynn Mitschke, and I'm a green building consultant. And so I work with cities on their green building and energy efficiency programs, and also do green point ratings through Build It Green, and advise people about making their homes more sustainable and more healthy.
Thank you. Thanks for being with us. I see Margot up next. Margot Garcia.
Hi, I founded Great Leader Coaching to help good managers become great leaders. I work mostly with managers who manage other managers, but my favorite client is the person whose career may have been stalled. They're not loving their job anymore, and they don't realize that it's how they're showing up. So we talk about the role they play and how they want to show up. Margot Garcia, Great Leader Coaching. Thank you.
Nicely done. Down into the S's, we skip alphabetically a lot to Shelley from Small and Mighty.
Hi everyone, my name is Shelley from Small and Mighty. An interesting tip is when I run under streetlights, they go out. I specialize in social media for small business. That includes content creation, strategy, online marketing, digital ads, anything that has to do with the online digital marketing social media space. I am your person. That could include training. So reach out to me if you have any needs. Shelley from Small and Mighty.
Nicely done. I got to tell my partner that he has the same superpower. I couldn't believe you brought that up.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah,
We're called sliders.
Good to know. Well, up next, we have Suzette W. You're on, so unmute.
Hi, I'm Reverend Suzette Weihant. I'm the Senior Minister for OHM Center for Spiritual Living in La Mesa. What I want to really offer anybody here is I do a Tuesday spiritual wisdom quote. And so if you would like to be part of my group, I send it out once a week. I don't inundate you. Let me know. I'm Reverend Suzette for OHM Center for Spiritual Living, and this is my second time here, so.
I'm glad you came back. That sounds good. Hope you'll continue to. Last on our alphabetical list, Tamara Z.
I'm always last, aren't I? Even if we're going by first names.
You're right.
Especially the last names. Tamara Z with Coldwell Banker West. I've been a full-time realtor, very experienced for the past 18 years, and I've been a member of this organization since 2003, old timer. Besides helping all of my clients in the San Diego area make smart real estate investment decisions, I can also help anybody find a real estate agent who's qualified to help them anywhere in the world. Thank you, Tamara Z.
Very nicely done. Before we go on to my little 30 seconds, I wanted to ask if Todd, to give me a chance to switch tech-wise, if you could talk just for a moment about the WOW coming up in the next week or so.
So I kind of did earlier, but yes, we are doing our week of welcome next week. It starts Monday, April 19th, and that is, like I mentioned earlier, when Milo was looking for some time, we are having our intro to the SDEBA, and that is at 12 o'clock. You do need to register for that. Like I mentioned earlier, go to sdeba.org/events and just sign up. You will get the link to attend. It is from 12 to 1. It is about a 30-minute little introduction to what the chamber is all about, how it can benefit your business. And it goes over like the networking groups, the mixers that we do. And it also introduces you to some of the board members and whatnot. Again, that is from 12 to 1. And then the rest of the week, we have our networking groups that are opening up for you to participate, get a better idea of how they work, and maybe find the right networking group for you. So there are a lot of spaces available. And that is Week of Welcome, which is what we're calling WOW, starts Monday.
Great. And please do check out all of those groups, see what's the right fit. They're all free for you to visit at this point in time. So I am Milo Shapiro, public speaking coach. And let's get that over. There we go. So which is more important, organizing material well, or being more effective, or being someone who can balance the stories and data effectively, or telling stories effectively? Which one should I do if I'm running a class? Well, the problem is we have people who fall into all of those. And that is why you have to be the one that I decide that for. That's why coaching is so much more powerful than classes, because classes have to be spread thin instead of figuring out what are your needs and getting you to your goals. So whether you wanted to speak to coworkers or whether you wanted to speak to clients, if you need to help a little bit more effectiveness in your speaking, talk to me about it. Be more prepared, polished, and powerful every time you speak through coaching. There we go. Oops, that's for later. So now we're going to turn off the share screen, and we are going to go on to meeting our guest for today. Thanks for being with us. Janet F. Williams is the triple award-winning author of the book, You Don't Ask, You Don't Get, Proven Techniques for Getting More Out of Life. I read it years ago, and I reread it, most of it at least, in the last few weeks, reminding myself of so many great points. So I'm excited to have you with us. We want to know why and how to ask to increase our chances to getting what we want. And according to her, others will give you what you want if you go about that right. She says in her notes, there are 7 motivators that drive behavior. And I want to make sure we all leave here knowing them so we know how to work that to our advantage. If you're one of those who's reluctant to ask, I think you're going to find our guest interesting today and find empowerment in her words. So Janet, welcome to the Power Lunch.
Thank you so much, Milo. It's always a pleasure working with you. Milo's a great speaker. That's how we met, was I heard him speak and we were just a natural together. Thank you so much. And thank you everybody for coming today. I so appreciate you being here.
Great. All right, let's dig right in with the questions. Most of the time, we are not on the world's radar, and we have to be pretty lucky to get what we want to fall in our lap, whether it's a job or a good price or someone's help or a sale, if we don't ask for it. So given that, Janet, why don't we ask for what we want?
Fear is right at the top of the list. We don't want to hear no. And so we don't ask rather than take a chance. And there are also people who have been taught not to say what's on their minds, not to ask because they might believe that it's impolite, or they just don't have the words to ask the question in the way in which they would like to ask it. So there's a number of reasons.
Okay. And when we put them all together, they leave us not asking is what it comes down to. So we all have things we want. And when we ask, we're successful some of the time, I guess, but some maybe we are, some we're not. How can we change our mindsets so we're more likely to get the what you call the radio station WIFM? What's in it for me? How do you get to that?
Exactly. We're all tuned into WIFM. What's in it for me? And it's important to know what you want, but it's just as important to know what the other person wants so that they can give you what you want. You have to find out what the other person wants so you can give it to them, and then you can have an exchange.
So the problem is, I guess, that they're listening to WIFT while you're listening to WIFM, and you got to get them on your station.
Everybody's thinking what's in it for me. So while
Yeah.
you're thinking about what you want, the person you're asking, they're also thinking what's in it for me. And that's why you have to find out what's on their mind.
You got to tune into their station so you can sing their song for a little bit. 'Cause
Exactly.
it's about giving and receiving. As I read the book, that became more and more clear to me all the time. There has to be enough motivation on both sides, though, for that, correct?
You don't ask, you don't get.
That's right.
That's right. Lynn, I know you're not used to being on Zoom. You have a mute button in the lower left part of your screen, and you can click that to go on and off.
Yes, like we should all be muted other than our guests. So let's talk about those motivations, the motivations that help us to help them give us what we want.
Yes. Yes, there are 7 motivations that drive behavior, and I'm going to talk to you about what they are. Just as we have our motivations, the person you're asking, they have their motivation, and it may not be the same as yours, and that's okay. You don't have to be a match, but you do have to know what it is that they want so you can give it to them. And I actually created a PowerPoint, and I'm going to do a screen share here.
Let's hope.
As soon as I...
The way things have been tech-wise, I would love to see your PowerPoint.
All right, screen share. Host disabled participant screen sharing. Okay.
That's a tough one. Let me see if I have the power to allow that. I don't know, or Todd, do you?
Yeah, as a co-host, you do.
So if I click screen share, I see.
Milo, do you have the little security icon at the bottom? Looks like a shield.
Do I have the shield? Yes.
If you click that, you should be able to enable screen sharing right underneath there.
It says allow participants to, and screen share is checked. So that sounds like it's right.
Should be set. Janet, why don't you try again? See if it helps.
Nope, disabled.
I just turned it off and back on again. So see if that made a difference.
It looks like it's working now, Janet.
Hey.
Good.
Okay.
It does, because I don't see. Yeah, oh, there it goes.
Hey, there we go.
Love when tech works.
Hey. All right. So there's me. There's my book. There's a little bit of info. Oh, somehow we ended up at the end. Let's go to the beginning. Boy, this is tech difficulty day, isn't it?
It is.
That's all right. I have yet to go through a Zoom where we didn't have tech difficulty. All right, so we're going to talk about the information in You Don't Ask, You Don't Get, so you can ask for what you want and increase your chances for getting it. And what's behind that is the 7 motivations. The first one being the emotional motivation. And when you think of that, it's about any emotion that you might have that could be a motivating factor. So you want to be a good listener always, keeping in mind that the person you're talking with is going to be giving you cues about if they have an emotional motivation, what that is. And the same thing for you. Oftentimes, you're going to have several motivations, and emotion is usually in that list. So what you're thinking is, what's in it for me on an emotional level? Do you want a fun experience? Are you looking for joy or cheer? It could be anything positive, wonder, love, like. You do something because you like somebody or you want them to like you, something that gives you delight. We tend to think of these as positive emotions, but any emotion, even the ones we tend to think of as negative, are in this category. So do you do something because you want to avoid embarrassment, or you do it out of guilt? The answer, of course, is yes. So it doesn't really matter which emotion, we're talking about an emotional motivation. The next one is physical, and I also include time in that. It tends to be a matter of action, convenience. So now we're talking about any physical feeling that you might experience within yourself. So are you looking to eat? Are you hungry? Do you need to sleep? Do you need to get up? Are you cold and you need to get warm? These are all things. Are you looking for activity or relaxation? So why do you do something? Because you're motivated by something on the physical plane. So you do something because it brings you food, or it brings you warmth, or you have the time to do it. And likewise for the other person, sometimes you say, well, how about if I provide the food and then we can do X, Y, Z, then you're keying into their motivation for the food that you're going to bring. Or maybe they have time to do it, and because they like you, there's the emotional tie-in, they've got 2 reasons to give you what you want. The third one is logical. Now we're up in the brain. This is where we make sense of our world as far as problem solving, thinking, meditation. Why does somebody seek you out for your business? Because you have knowledge within your business. And the same reason why you would go to see somebody else, because they're going to be able to give you what you want on that thinking level. And likewise, kind of on the negative end, you're going to avoid someone who doesn't have the knowledge. And again, these combine so that it makes sense to you. And fairness. Well, what's fairness? Well, what's fair to me may not be what's fair to you. And when you're talking to someone, if they talk and use words like equal or balanced or an obligation to make something fair, like, you did something for me last week and now I owe you, there's that obligation, they want to pay you back. And what you think is fair, when you find out it's not the same as what the other person thinks, then you have to find that level of fairness. Spirituality and beliefs drive behavior, no doubt about it. So people are motivated by their religious or spiritual views or just their belief systems. And if you're an individual or a company, that is part of this, because you might support a business because of their particular spiritual beliefs or because of their ethics. So why do you patronize a company? Because you agree with their values. Or maybe this is a value situation with someone you know. So when you hear things like trust or prayer or spirit or ethics or morality or just belief, if somebody says, I believe this or I believe that, you know that beliefs are important to someone. And if you're talking about logic and they're talking about beliefs, you're not going to be on the same plane. But if you start saying, I believe, it's really not something that they're necessarily going to be aware of, but a shift can take place. Next, we have personal goals and dreams. These are the things that you take on for yourself and your family, your career, your daily responsibilities, your aspirations. And sometimes we do things for the personal motivation of someone else, just because we want to support them in their goal. And last but not least, now most people think they understand the financial motivation because, well, hey, so many things trade back and forth and money is often used in our daily experience, but it doesn't have to include money at all. It could be any exchange of product or service or anything to have value or worth. It can be tangible, it could be intangible. And again, you have to find that same level. So if you think your product or service is worth a certain amount, but it doesn't hold value for another person, then you have to find the place where you can add value so that a transaction can take place. So those are the basics. Next.
Sorry, I tried to interject there, but I didn't realize I had muted for background noise here.
Oh.
So one of the things that I really got in the book about the 7 motivations was it's in the listening. It's in the realizing from what they're saying, they just reference the spiritual belief there. That's really good for me to be aware of. Like, wow, it seems like physical is what's on their mind, and to be able to relate to where their motivations are coming from.
That's right. So, and it helps for you to know where yours are coming from, because if you realize that you're having an ego issue and that would be personal, and that's what's stopping you from getting what you want, take a look at that and see what you have to do to get rid of it.
Makes sense. I love that idea of changing services. I knew someone who financially wasn't going to be replacing a really cheesy looking business card. So he happens to be a great masseur. He's a great masseur with a crappy card. So now he's going to have a nice card, and I'm going to get some massage. And it came because I thought to ask, thanks to you. Right. So we know about the motivations. What can we do to improve our chances of success within them?
Well, the most important thing that you can do for yourself is...
Oh, good. That was nice.
being proactive versus being reactive. So you want to think about how you can go about getting the information you need before you talk to somebody, as opposed to asking your question, getting the answer you don't want to hear, and then you're coming from behind, you're playing defense. No. You want to plan out what you need to know. So if there's something in particular that you're after, think about who you're going to be talking to, what information they can give you, and at some point you're going to realize that you have enough information to actually tie down a response. And the way that you can do this, you want to ask open-ended questions. These are the kinds of questions that elicit a long response. So your questions often start with the who, what, where, when, why, how, or which, because those are the words that cue other people in to the fact that you're looking for a longer answer. So you might say, how can we go about resolving this? And then they'll tell you. And then who's the right person to talk to, right? You want to make sure that you're even talking to the right decision maker. And then when you have enough information, you want to use a closed-ended question to tie things down. And a tie down is something that gives your other person a limited choice. So it might be a yes or no. It might be something as simple as, which is a better time for us to get together? Tuesday at 11 or Wednesday at 3? And oftentimes the person will pick one of those. And both of those are going to be the answers that you want. But with
those are both yeses.
Down, yeah, with the yes, you're typically looking for a yes in your answer. But there are questions that you can ask where you know what the answer is going to be when it's a no. So when you're in your conversation, you're guiding somebody to get to where you want to go. So you might be asking, does anyone want to waste time waiting for their package to arrive? Well, of course, the answer to that is no. You know what the answer is, so you can ask that. And then you can rephrase it a different way. You want someone who will return your calls, right? And of course, the answer to that is going to be yes. Right. Mm-hmm. So again, this is another way that you can guide the conversation in your favor. And oftentimes in sales, there's techniques where people will use this and they'll keep getting the person to say yes, so that at the end, they'll be saying yes to you.
I like that. Get them saying yes so they can say yes to you. And I often say, shall we look at calendars? I like your idea of how about this time or this time? So we're already filing it down at that point. Yep. If anyone came in late, Janet did offer that she's going to give away a copy of the book. And the way she's going to do it is she's thought of a number between 1 and 100. If you private message her your guess of what the number might be, then she will be able to tell us at the end who the winner was. You got a favorite question? I see one more slide. Let's get that for you. Yep. What's your favorite question?
Before we leave here, this is one of my favorite takeaways. And the question, what haven't I asked that I would want to know? This is a fabulous question. I use it all the time. You're on the phone with somebody, you're getting some information. You think you know what to ask, but you don't know what you don't know. And sometimes they will tell you things you never would have even thought to ask. So it's a great question. I recommend that you write that down and use it. And all kinds of situations, you'll be amazed at what you find.
That's great, because then somebody could rule you out because of something that you didn't ask about, when if they told you about it, you might be ready to jump on it. I love that.
Yeah, you know, I recently went to the dentist, and when I was on the phone, I asked her, I said, well, what haven't I asked that I would want to know? And she said, oh, well, don't come in, call us from the parking lot, and then we'll tell you when you can come in. I mean, it's just something as simple as that.
Got her thinking. That's great. Well, the next question I was going to ask was, how can people get in touch with you? But it's right there on the screen. And I encourage you to also put it in the chat session, because that's easier for people to save than a screenshot. So
right,
Jen,
I put it there.
oh, great. So that works out well. And I remembered during your program to put my stuff there too, because I always forget to do that when I'm busy doing the interview. Janet, thanks so much. And don't forget to send her your number between 1 and 100 if you'd like a copy of the book. And with that, I'm going to return to wrap. Oh, you need to stop sharing so I can share. Stop and reshare the PowerPoint, which is not currently on the way it should be. 1 second. Like Janet, I don't want to start you over at the beginning of the meeting, so I have to find the right slide.
All right, yeah, I see I've got a few more numbers coming in.
Good.
Yeah, because now that you know a little bit more about the book, you realize how you can use this in all facets of your life. You know, whether it's personal empowerment or in retail settings or relationships, it's communicating.
Thank you. All right, this should be working now. There we go. So our next power launch, I took the you don't ask, you don't get to a higher level. A few months ago, I decided I was going to take a big old chance and see if we get the mayor on. And I got the mayor to come on. I said, well, and what step up from, I know that was exciting. Well, I took one step up where I truly expected a no. And I am excited to say that 99% sure, we're just dotting the I's. We have, with a drum roll, California Senate President Pro Tem Tony Atkins is going to be my guest for next month's Power Lunch. So we are not going to have any tech problems. We're going to be on at 11:40, making sure all of that's ready so that she gets to be as welcomed. If there are particular kinds of questions you'd like for me to ask Ms. Atkins, happy to hear from that. I'm already starting to build up a little bit of a list, but I want to make sure it's as powerful as possible. For those of you who don't know, she was one of the first openly lesbian politicians at all, let alone to make it to the California Senate. She actually served as our mayor for a week a number of years ago. I did not know that until I just started doing the research. So it should be really interesting to hear her perspective, both from an LGBT perspective and also just what's going on in California, because there's a lot going on in California right now. And hopefully she'll give us some insight. Upcoming, we have today from 3 to 4, My Point Credit Union is doing a program for us called 5 Steps to Solar. So you can learn more about that. We've already learned about our week of welcome. So tell friends about that and come to the kickoff meeting Monday at noon. I just put that on my calendar myself. So thank you, Todd, for letting me know about that. And then we have our next Power Dash lunch. What is with that hyphen? Why does he keep bringing that up? On May 12th, I'll tell you in just a minute. Barbara wants to know, you can tell you that you can get more information on anything at sdeba.org. So thanks for volunteering unexpectedly to tell us that. We want you to connect with each other, so you can do that in the chat area. If there's somebody you heard from that you want to hear more from, send them a private message, or you can request a one-on-one call later. We're going to have our time for call-outs now, and the way that works is I've got to get my little list on the screen of, where is that list, where I can see all the participants. There we go. So if there's someone who would like to give a shout out, if you want to just be able to say there's someone I want to talk to, you can unmute, wait for me to call on you, do your little shout out like that. And then when you're done, just remute yourself and the list will go way back. So is there anyone who has found someone that they would like to say, hey, get in touch with me? I'm not seeing any unmutes. Is there anyone? All right, then I'll count on you to do that through the chat. Any testimonials here about others? If there's someone, there's Barbara again. I shouldn't use Barbara every time, but if there's someone here that you've used their service and you're like, she's amazing, he's terrific, I want to give a shout out on his behalf, unmute yourself right now and I'll give you the chance to do that. Anyone? Well, I'm going to do one. Dorian talked about people not looking at their insurance for years on end. Dorian was good enough to say to me, bring me your policy. And he went through and figured out exactly what I should be paying, and with a company that happens to not be State Farm. He said, you know, I can't always tell people this, but you've got a great deal. You should stay put. Other times he gets to tell people, here's how I can save you money. So that's the kind of thing Dorian does. That was really just nice to know. And I understand my policy better thanks to him. Anyone else want to do a shout out for anyone? Dorian, you're unmuted.
Oh no, say thank you, Milo. So yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, then we'll move on. Sometimes we take testimonials about the SDEBA itself. If there's anyone who wants to share why this organization has been valuable to them, go ahead and unmute yourself for a second, and we'll give you a chance to just give the group a testimonial.
I was going to say one benefit as we were sitting here, Tony Atkins, the office of Tony Atkins, I was working with Pam, and we're actually doing some embroidered polos for them. So as a result of being part of the SDEBA, I originally worked with Tony Duran, who is under her, and today, literally, while this meeting was going on, they ordered 30 polos that they're going to be probably wearing next month, which will be kind of nice to see. So there is that connection of being part of the SDEBA, and that was one of the benefits. Is, you know, just connecting with different individuals, different companies, and whatnot. And so that's obviously one of the benefits, I would have to say.
Fantastic. I know I always use that directory every time I'm looking for a service that I don't already know somebody for. I'm right on to look for people's profiles. So it really does make a difference. Please follow us. You can join us on Facebook just by putting the name of the organization after the .com, or for the LinkedIn, it's a really awful LinkedIn name. So I created the tinyearl.com LinkedIn SDEBA, and you can link in to follow upcoming announcements on events and things happening in the organization. Why was I talking so much about that hyphen? Because we finally have a page dedicated to the Power Lunch to tell people what it's about and what's coming up, and let you register through it and go see past meetings. You're going to be able to probably for the rest of time. If you want to go back and share what Janet was talking about, it's going to be posted there. So it's power-lunch.com. I would have liked to not have the dash, but I was lucky to even get that. Power-lunch.com is all things Power Lunch from now on. And you're gonna be able to see, like I said, we've already got past episodes there. There's a couple more since then. I think we have the March one out there now. So our distribution list, if you're not getting our stuff, it might be because you need to add @sdeba.org to your safe sender list so that you can get our things, and guests can join too. You don't have to be a member to get our mailings. We want you to be a member, but to know what's coming up, you can get it too. So on the gray bar at the sdeb.org homepage, you can get on our mailing list. And that's right up there at the top. Dorian would love to talk to you about being a member because he's our membership chair. So Dorian's gonna, I'm sure, drop his email address over in the chat, because that Vokput part in the middle is really hard to remember. I've got it down now, but the average person doesn't. So he'll put that there. Talk to him about membership. I want to remind you at the end to click that save chat. If people have been sharing things that you want to be able to get in touch with them about, it puts that file meeting_saved_chat.txt in a file called Zoom somewhere on your computer. Finding it is your job, but it is called that, so you can search your computer for that. I want to thank all the people out there who are our healthcare workers and our first responders. That's so important still through this time. As things are getting better, they can take a breath, but they're still so important to all of us. A final thought. Let's see what, before a final thought, who wins the prize, Janet? I was wondering what I meant by that. That's what I created. I knew I'd forget to ask if I didn't create a slide. So Janet, who's won the book?
Well, this is Dorian Brewer Day, because here's the number, and Dorian had 66.
Very close.
So
very nice.
Dorian, you can get in touch with me and phone, email, give me your address, or put it in the chat for me, and I will send the book out to you.
Nice. So I know Dorian, it's because that's the number of cold calls he made today before coming to the meeting.
Thank you.
Goals, goals, goals.
I look forward to reading
so
it.
welcome.
Terrific. Moving on, in our final thought, it's for International Transgender Day of Visibility, which was March 31st since our last meeting. I would have liked to have had trans guests on, and we're going to in the near future. I just didn't know it was timely, so hopefully we're going to be able to take care of that in June. But my quote of the day comes from Laverne Cox. It is revolutionary for any trans person to choose to be seen and visible in a world that tells us that we should not exist. So hopefully in June, we're going to be hearing from both a man and a woman in the trans community talking about doing business with people in the trans community, what to know, what to be aware of, how to make the right choices around working with trans people so we don't put our feet in our mouth. want to say thank you to all of you for being here. If you have general comments about Power Lunch or the organization, you can send them to info@sdeba.org. Or if you want to send them to me directly, you can send them to milo@miloshapiro.com. If you'd like to request a breakout room with anyone, you always can. We can keep put you in that afterwards. But since Janet said that she's going to be lingering, we're also going to be using that time after 1 o'clock once we close the meeting officially. So I'm not going to go through the steps of how to do that. We can do that in the unofficial time. And that wraps up the program, I guess. So getting out of sharing mode. Thank you all for being here. And Todd, you can take us out with a stop recording. We'll see you next month with Tony Atkins for our May meeting, second Wednesday